What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 20 of the RUDIS Wrestling Podcast. Matt, we are on Christmas break, and so I do not have my recording stuff. You are a professional as always. How was your Christmas?
That's a loaded question. It was good. The short answer, it's good.
Okay.
I think we both had a couple extra gifts that we weren't expecting over Christmas, right?
I had some sick kids, so yeah, for me it was Christmas as a parent versus Christmas as a kid, not quite the same thing. So I had a bunch of sick kids I had to take care of. So maybe it wasn't the best Christmas ever, but we still got it done.
Yeah, I had a sick child, and my wife had an emergency appendectomy. So that was
Did you spend Christmas in the hospital or what?
No, they actually turned it around pretty quick. She was in there. She went in around noon. We picked her up around 7 that night.
What?
Brought her home. Yeah.
Oh my God! Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was Christmas Eve. So I told her, I'm like, if you wanted to get out of presents, you could have just told me. I would have done it.
So you had to wrap everything. So the wrap. My wife always makes fun of me when I wrap something because she wraps it, looks perfect. I wrap it. It's like just throw a bunch of tape everywhere and then I'll call it a day. I'm
the worst. I don't know. Women just innately know how to rap. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, seriously, it's almost innate, isn't it?
Yeah.
My daughter at 5 years old almost has as good rapping skills as I do. So hey, let's get into this. We got a little bit of everything. Nothing super important, but just a little bit of everything. I guess first and foremost, I wanted to give UWW some credit. They made some changes which were very positive, and usually I kill them on this kind of stuff. So I think we got to give them a little bit of a big ups. So the biggest thing being, I guess this is in my opinion, the biggest thing being number one, they always count seeding points from the year before, and number two, if and this didn't happen here, if there's a 1 through 4, if one of the 4 guys doesn't enter into the bracket, then the next person is moved up to fill that seating spot.
Right.
At least that's my understanding of it. It's not written super clearly. And then I guess the last thing that I think is important here is that the World Championships, the points there are so much greater than the Continentals or the ranking series. And if you remember last year, the way they gave the points was based on, it was like a number plus however many people were in the bracket, which I always thought was kind of weird.
It's kind of arbitrary, right?
Very arbitrary. Because it's just not fair because like with the Continentals, it's like, well, you can only enter where you live. So it's not fair that some people's brackets are way bigger than other people's brackets. That's not their freaking fault. That's just where they live.
Yeah.
So so when we look at this new system, I think it's going to be much better, Matt. I think we're going to end up with a lot of the I don't know if you want to say the correct seeds, if that's the right way to say it, but the correct seeds. And so a lot of these matchups won't happen early on. We had Taylor Yazdani first round this year, and a whole bunch of other bad matchups really early. So overall, I'm very happy with this. You got any other input in that?
So just I think I read this the right way. So your seeding points only carry over from the previous year's World Championships if you're at the same weight, correct?
I think that's how it said. I do believe, yes, that's what it says. Because it says, I'm actually have the document up right now. It says, points will be allocated to participating athletes in a weight category and are not transferable to other athletes or weight categories. So that would mean to me, yes, that it does not transfer over per weight class. I don't like that, Matt. I would like to see points go to, if you win the World Championships, Matt, you win the World Championships. It's not like you can go sneak into an easy bracket somewhere. If you win the World Championships, you should get those points. So I don't love that part of it, but again, we can't expect UWW to make that big a jump. So the fact that they're doing this, I think, is a huge positive to what they're doing. But yeah,
no,
if they change that, you're right. If they change that, I'm even more happy.
Because I guess right now, as the new rules revisions as stated, this could actually force guys to move weight classes a year earlier, right? I know that we've had discussions about where's Jaden going to go, where's Dake going to go, where are all these guys going to be in 2020, and so I guess since the criteria is only determined on that year's weight class, it could force guys to move a weight class next year, as early as next year, if they want that criteria to carry over
for the
into
Olympics.
2020, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You would think that's what it will be forced because, to what that sentence I just read, it's not like, and this is the way the NCAA does it also, but it's not like, okay, if Jordan Burroughs scores a whole bunch of points at 74 kilograms, that doesn't mean if Kyle Dake then beats him to make the team, he gets those points. And it's also not transferable weight, so if Kyle Dake does all stuff at 79, he doesn't get those points at 74. So yes, to that point, I would think not only will we see that in America, but we'll probably see that with a lot of different athletes because every country is going to run into the same issue where they're going to have athletes who do not want to be in that non-Olympic weight on the non-Olympic year. Maybe in certain countries where it's kind of more top-down where they tell wrestlers who's going to be on the team, maybe they won't have that issue, but I foresee that being an issue 100% on the American team and certain other teams too.
Yeah. So it could be interesting how this year's World Championships play out.
I've heard Dake's going down.
Say that again? Sorry.
Dake is going down is what I've heard.
Okay. That makes sense.
Go ahead.
What about Jaden? Have you heard anything?
I've not heard what he's doing. We have the My Best Rival came out, and the trailers are great. I had 3-6 kids. I was really planning on watching it yesterday, Matt. I didn't get to watch it. Did you get to watch it or no?
No, I had some extracurricular activities to attend to as well.
It would be fun, maybe. I don't know if you ever watched. No, I'm going way off topic, but who cares? And Joe Rogan does this thing called Fight Companion, where if he's not broadcasting one of the events, they all get together, him and some buddies, and they live broadcast the event. Me and you, maybe we could watch. Me and you could watch My Best Rival together. And we could live broadcast our commentary to it.
Why don't we do
that? Might be boring for everyone else to watch. Who knows? So yeah,
it'd be interesting for us at least. Though.
Absolutely. I would think that. Yeah, I think that kind of puts the stamp on the fact that Dake's going down. He's not going to go up and challenge Taylor again. Just some of the things they were saying around that. So yeah, I think we see weight changes next year. The other thing that I thought was interesting, Matt, which actually goes right in the fact that what you're saying, and this is going to make Kyle Dake's life a little more miserable. But there's no longer any weight allowance at any of these ranking series events or
which typically just for people that don't follow it all too closely. Typically, there's a 2 kilo weight allowance.
Yeah, which that's a lot of weight, man. That's almost 5 pounds. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. That means, Kyle's got to kind of, and I don't know what his weight is or how close he is. I heard he wasn't that big for 79, but, he's going to have to suck himself down to that 74 kilo. Every single event that he's going to compete in if he wants these seeding points. So, you know what? I don't really love that, Matt. At this level, I think, and maybe this is me because I was cutting a lot of weight to make 74 kg. But at this level, and especially the fact that they have a 2-day weigh-in at the World Championships, I don't feel like it's necessary to have people suck down to weight all year long. Right?
No, I don't think that's necessary.
It's just not. So I don't love that part. I guess what they're saying is we want to make this more fair or something. I don't know. What do you think they're saying there?
I think so. I think it, a more uniform process that, everybody has to deal with for the entire year. I guess it could help people acclimate or get used to it because like you said, 5 pounds isn't an insignificant amount. So if you're essentially wrestling up a weight class all year without making scratch weight, I think it could have some effect.
Sure. Yeah. I definitely, if I was a competitor, I would have hated that because it's making 74 is really tough for me. So I always loved the fact that for me, I only had to do a couple. I had to do it for the Open, I had to do it for the trials, and then the year I made it for the Olympics, I had to make it for the Olympics. But for nothing, not for the World Cup, not for anything else, right? So that was really I would have hated this. Okay.
But yeah, overall though,
Positive.
I think positive. Yeah, not perfect, but overall positive game.
Yeah, definitely. And so the first ranked series event is the Eureka coming up here in January. Obviously, Kyle Snyder said he's attending. Abdul Rashid Sedgelive is supposed to be attending also. Hopefully, Matt, I'm hoping to get Kyle on a podcast here. Hoping you guys can make that happen down there in Columbus.
Yeah, we'll make that happen. I gotta see what his travel schedule is when he's actually heading out to Eureka. But yeah, we'll definitely make that happen in the next 2 weeks before he takes off.
Yeah, I want to give him that long form interview. You know, we've heard some sound bites from Kyle since then, but you know, no one's really sat down and talked at length with him. And hopefully, I would like to do that. I think it'll be a blast. I think it'd be good for him. Maybe get some stuff off his chest, and I guess we'll go from there. Okay, let's move on. You want to hit the Reno? You want to hit Beast? What do you want to hit first?
So, do we want to talk about the Reno? It should be called the Cowboy Invitational.
It really should. I mean, damn. Yeah, this year was weak, and I think I'm not a Reno expert, so don't quote me on this, Matt. But I feel like historically there's been maybe 3 or 4 good teams there. It's not a Midlands, it's not a Vegas, it's not a Scuffle. But it's been decent. And this year, I felt like it was terrible. It was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, and I've actually only been there once.
Okay.
As
I've
a
also
coach.
been there once.
So I'm not real familiar with it. But yeah, typically it's a decent event. I mean, I wouldn't think anybody would say that Reno is a marquee event that people really mark on their calendar and look towards, but it's always a quality event. But this year, it seemed, I mean, there weren't really any high profile matchups.
Well, no, so let's go. I'm clicking it up here on my computer to bring the brackets up. So yeah, obviously Nick Piccinini had nobody, steamrolled the bracket. Dayton Fix really had nobody. I mean, there wasn't. He's not ranked, but I thought the semifinal match was semi-interesting because he had Gary Wayne Harding, who obviously was Gary Wayne was an Oklahoma Cowboy before transferring to North Carolina. But you know, Dayton, I think he wrestled. I believe he wrestled Michigan State kid in the finals, and that one wasn't highly competitive. So yeah, those first 2 ways, no competition. I guess the third one, we've talked about this, Matt, and I think this goes further to this goes further towards my point. Cade Brock loses Sam Turner, which, if you remember, you and I talked at length about. It was actually the last Sam Turner match when he got I think he got 4 or 5 takedowns right away in the first period, and then Sam Turner ended up getting a takedown, riding him out. And we talked about, you know, is Cade Brock, is he really that guy? You know, is he that guy, or is he does he just have really flashy stuff but he can't put it all together? And it's got. I mean, it kind of looks like that too. But man, it looks like that. I mean, he didn't look good at all in this match. I don't know if he was scared of getting tired like he did the last one, so he wasn't pulling the trigger. Man, he just didn't look good at all, and that's huge because Sam Turner, I don't believe, was ranked prior to that. I believe now is ranked, but that's not a good loss for him, and that's not a good loss for the Cowboys, because I think if you're looking at you know, we talked about the other day different ways the Cowboys can challenge Penn State. Every single one of those ways includes Cade Brock getting a whole bunch of points at nationals. Yeah,
right now, I mean, at this point, I mean, you and I both agree. I mean, the Brock is extremely talented. I love watching him wrestle. He's really entertaining. But, you know, these inconsistencies, I'm almost getting to the point where I'm having trouble introducing another excuse. Like, part of me wanted to say, like, you know what? You know, the holidays are always a difficult time. I'm sure, I don't know how you dealt with competing over the holidays. Some guys are impervious to competing over the holidays. Other guys, it does affect them for whatever reason. Regardless, I mean, Cade Brock's a junior. I mean, he's been to Reno 3 times now.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time explaining this one away at this point.
You can't. Don't give it up. Say Cade Brock. You know what, Matt? Don't give Cade Brock. Make Cade Brock prove himself to you.
Make Cade Brock, make me a believer. I want to believe. Yes. Make me a believer.
Yes. Maybe if pretend like if he was on your fantasy team, that you would need to, pick him up somehow. Man, I'm getting super annoyed. I cannot find the damn brackets for Reno. I'm on Florina. I'm struggling over here trying to find the brackets. I can't find them. I don't know who won 149. I can't remember. I think it was Caden Gefeller, but
it was.
It was, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty much when in doubt, just say.
Oh wait, I remember. he wrestled his teammate in the finals. I remember now. It came back to me. He wrestled Dusty Hone in the finals. Yeah, he kicked Dusty Hone's butt. It was and that's kind of Matt, but that's great depth for Oklahoma State because really Hone would be their third string guy because their first string guy's out.
Yep.
So Hone's really their third string guy making the finals of the Reno. Not bad at all. And I think keep going through 157. 57. I remember. So I'm now it's all coming. Even though I don't have the brackets, it's all coming back because I watched all these matches. 57, Shomers gets just I don't even know what to say, Matt. He's got his ass kicked by a guy who wasn't a Division I guy. I don't even know who the guy is. I never heard of him. But he got taken down, led up, taken down, put on his back, pinned in like a minute and a half. Like, for as good as Oklahoma State is, that's why I don't see, I pitched this to you earlier. I don't think Shomers is that good. How come they can't move one of their 49s up and bump him out?
I mean, at this point, it seems like they're going to Okie State's going to be forced to be creative with their lineup. I know they bumped, and we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I know they bumped Gear up to 97. It looks like he's in the rankings now, so it looks like Dakota Gear may be a permanent replacement at 197.
So I guess Preston White is out for the season, is what it comes.
Yeah, it looks that way. And then at 174. And again, we're jumping ahead.
This is the main talking point, I think, right here is 174, isn't it?
It really is.
Okay, so let's go. Johns Blaylock from Oklahoma. I found the brackets. Johns Blaylock did end up making the finals. He lost to Paul Fox. 65. Chandler just dominates everyone. I want to say he got all pins or techs, if I remember correctly.
He did.
Okay, he did. You're on fire too. Okay, 74. Jacoby looks great. Joe Smith looks great. I thought Joe Smith looked really, really good. Drew Hughes, he's solid. And Joe Smith made him look like an amateur.
I mean, he ran through Joe Smith ran through everybody.
Yeah, he looked great.
And Andy, he looked like a decent sized 74 pounder.
Well, okay. And listen, I'm not one to be commenting on physiques. He was carrying some extra weight, Matt.
Yeah,
he was a little thick, and so.
But I think he's a guy that doesn't mind wrestling heavy.
Sure,
I think he kind of prefers it.
Okay, but what do you do with him here, Matt? Because you got Chandler at 65, so it's not like you can say, Joe, lose your belly, go to 65. 57 is obviously a hard cut, but that's the place that they really need someone at 57. They need someone really bad. And then you could go say 84, but now he's gonna be tiny at 84, right?
Or they bump Jacoby up, right?
But is Jacoby really that big? Because Jacoby doesn't feel like he's super big. I mean, he's not. I would say he's bigger than Joe, obviously, because Joe's looking chunky at 74. Yeah, it's a tough situation for them, I think.
I mean, the amount of that's the thing when it comes down to the team race. We were talking about what Okie State needs to do, but
I think Okie State's out. If Cade Brock can't figure it out and they can't get someone 57. Hit the road, Jack.
Yeah, all these teams that we've been talking over the last couple months about what do teams need to do to potentially compete against Penn State come March. These guys are, a lot of these top teams are accumulating significant injuries that are having, season-long impact.
Damn straight. Hey, so you want? I got to come clean on something here, Matt.
Okay.
You just made me think of it when you brought up Penn State again. So a kid, I was riding home with a parent and a couple kids from this dual tournament we went to in Cleveland, and the kid said, "Ben, who wins 133 pounds at nationals?" And I didn't even think. I said Roman Bravo Young, and I was like, "Oh, what did I? Wait, what did I just say? Did I just say Roman Bravo Young? Like, where did that come from? You know, like that was just like the first thing that came to my head." And so I'm like, "Am I that impressed with this guy that subconsciously, without even thinking about it, when someone asked me who's going to win that weight, I said him?" Like, is that my subconscious giving me a good answer, or am I just like talking crazy?
I mean, what did they say? You know, go with your first thought. You went with your first instinct.
Yeah. And so, well, now I start thinking like, okay, you know, that weight is really good because obviously you have Gross, but he's got injury issues. You got Suriano, man. And when I thought about him versus Dayton, and I'm a big fan of Dayton. I love the way he wrestles. But I thought about him. Roman he's so dynamic. He can score in so many ways. He can score from every position. He's got a great pace. Okay, so how's Dayton going to beat you? Dayton's going to push you around. I don't think he's going to push Bravo Young around. He's going to have a great pace and wear you out. I don't think he's going to wear him out. He's going to ride tough. I don't really think he's going to ride him. So then we take all those really great options that Fix does to almost everybody. You kind of take those out of the picture. It's like, well, I don't think Roman Bravo Young is going to fall for his overtime series. Dayton's not going to out-scramble him, I don't think. I don't know. I just see so many ways that Roman Bravo Young can win, and I don't see a lot of holes. Like, I can usually punch holes in people pretty easily and say, he can't do this, he can't do that, this is going to hit it, right? When I look at Roman Bravo, what holes am I supposed to punch in him, Matt? Can you help me out with this?
No, I can't. I wish I could.
Well, where are the holes?
Right now, I haven't seen any. That's the thing. Right now, he looks pretty complete. And before the season, I know he was a guy that we talked about. We were like, okay, most people that were familiar with Roman Bravo Young, they were more familiar with his freestyle credentials. Obviously, coming from Arizona, he didn't have wrestled a lot of high-level folk style stuff throughout the year, but we did have a pretty decent sample size of his freestyle results. So the question then remained was, okay, once he gets into D1 against these top guys, how's he actually going to do? Obviously, we know he can compete with anybody on his feet, but in top and bottom, how's he going to do? And so far,
we hadn't seen that. He didn't really wrestle anything national-wise, besides freestyle and Greco.
Right, but so far in the first 2 months of the season, he looks pretty freaking good in top and bottom.
Absolutely, and I know, I get that he hasn't wrestled anyone good, Matt. But I guess to what you said earlier, I'm going to trust my gut. When I watch someone, I can usually tell if they're a fraud. I can usually tell if they just look good because the competition sucks. I feel like I can usually tell that. With him, my gut is saying, holy shit, this guy's really, really, really good.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Well, just everything that we've been saying about K. Brock make me a believer. So far, I'm a believer in Roman Bravo Young.
Absolutely.
So should be interesting next week at the Scuffle, right?
Week. Yes, it's gonna be awesome. Okay, let's me and you were the first ones on the RBY bandwagon, right? Because I think everyone else was saying hold your horses. You know what I think a little of it is, and this might even be it for me, is like, with you take Roman Bravo Young away from the picture, Penn State's going to likely to run away with this team race, which I don't love. I love a good team race at the NCAAs. It's one of my favorite things about it. When there's a great team race, you got this section cheering, you got this section cheering, and it's just like creates this electric environment. Okay.
I mean, there was nothing better than last year, the NCAA tournament coming down to the last match.
Yes, it was so awesome. I mean, and most years it's like, Penn State's won a whole bunch, but most of the years has been really close. And so, so take away. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, that I can recall.
I think they won big one time.
They've won big one time, but outside of that, every tournament's been decided at some point on Saturday.
Yes.
And a couple of times, I know the last 2 years come Saturday night, right? Come the finals.
Yeah. I mean, Oklahoma State 13 was there, yeah. So a bunch of more Saturday night. Okay. So, Matt, forget Roman Bravo Young. They're probably winning no matter what, running away, right? And so now I think what our inherent bias thing is like, shit, if you give Roman Bravo Young, if you give him 20 to 25 points, this might be over on Thursday morning. Thursday morning. I'm sorry, not Thursday morning. I didn't mean Thursday morning. I didn't mean Thursday morning. I meant Friday morning, Matt. I meant Friday morning. When they punch a whole bunch in the semifinals, right? That can be a nail in the coffin. If they punch, say, 6 into the semifinals, you might be saying it's over Friday morning.
So possibly after the quarterfinal round, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if Rowan Bravo Young is really as good as you and I are saying he is, it's going to be over early at nationals, and I'm kind of sad about that.
And and the scary thing is, and I don't know what the likelihood of this happening is, but they could get a new 25-pounder second half of the year too.
Yeah, I think Teasdale's coming back. Obviously,
now what he does, I don't know, but if they get a guy, and I think the guy Devin Shump,
they're not getting any points from him.
Yeah, he's as much as he's been fighting and competing hard, realistically, if he gets to the national tournament, that would probably be good, but probably not a lot of high scoring ability. But if they get a guy like Teasdale in there that can actually score points, even if he goes 2-2, I mean that's points, valuable points that could just extend or widen the gap.
Absolutely. Okay, we got a Roman Bravo Young tangent.
So speaking of team races and the intrigue and the narrative that adds to any good high-level event, hopefully we don't see what we did at Ironman and Beast from Blair Academy.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
So I think we're done with Reno. Forget them. The Cowboy invite, we're going to call it from now on. Man, I'm still I was actually just watching. I watched a whole bunch of Beast matches this morning. And so to bring you guys up to speed on what Matt is talking about, Blair Academy scored 365 points at the Beast of the East. And second place, Wyoming Seminary, they only scored 238. Okay, Matt, that sounds bad, okay? Now, can I make it sound even worse? Okay.
Please.
Bergen Catholic only scores 162. So, okay, 365, 238, 162. Now, if I want to make it sound even worse, I would tell you then, Matt, that Wyoming Seminary is the number 2 school in the country, ranked-wise. Bergen Catholic is the number 3 school in the country, and Blair Academy scored more than 200 points more than them.
So you could basically what you're saying is combine the second and third ranked teams, and Blair still beats them.
Ooh, let's see. Let me do my math. No, I think
close.
Okay. If you combine them and obviously just their best wrestler scores, then yes, then they win still by a landslide. If you score all 28 of their wrestlers, they beat them by 20 points. Wow, damn, right?
And that's something to be said. When we're piling on Blair and praising Blair, when they've set the precedent there, arguably the best high school team historically.
Ever? Are you saying ever now?
I mean, they have to be in the discussion. I don't think it's a stretch to say that. But I mean, I guess what I'm saying, of all the great teams Blair has had, and they've had great teams. I mean, this team is just they're lapping the field. They lapped everybody at Ironman. They lapped everybody at the Beast. I mean, essentially, they already are the national champs this year, and we're not even out of December.
I don't even see how you can make an argument against that in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I go back to the hard part for me, Matt. It's like this is like a college team, and I realize there's a couple other programs, but I didn't even think like Bergen, I believe, and I don't have a deep knowledge of East Coast wrestling. I don't know the intricacies of Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, right? I got a rough idea of what it looks like.
Yep, I can help you out there.
But Bergen, I feel like Bergen is mostly Jersey kids. And so then if we go to Blair, it's like, okay, Matt, they were likely going to be the number 1 team in the country this year. And then they got Anthony Ferrari, second at the Beast. They got Dom Mata, first at the Beast. And they got Albert Ferrari, first at the Beast. So they got those 3 guys to transfer in when they were probably already going to be the number 1 team in the country. And I mean, that's just like, I get that it's kind of icing on the cake. I get that that's how this has gone forever. And maybe this is just me. I think I am in my life right now. I'm paying more attention to high school wrestling than ever because I have some kids I'm coaching wrestling at that level, so I'm trying to follow it. Obviously, we do this podcast, so I follow it for that. But man, it just seems to me, it just seems like totally different categories to me.
Yeah, I think because in previous years, if you looked at Blair's lineup, out of the 14 weights, you could probably grab a handful, 4 or 5 weights. They're not that strong. They're competitive, but they're on the national level. They're not that strong. But this year's team, all 14 guys are at a pretty high level.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the team points I'll put to the side. I want to talk about some of these matches. And the first guy I want to talk about is Albert Ferrari, he's the #1 kid in the country. His little brother, Anthony Ferrari. And Matt, this is gonna kind of sound like a little bit of a criticism, and I guess it is. And I don't know how I feel about criticizing high school kids, but I guess as a commentator of the sport, that's kind of my job. I was impressed with Anthony Ferrari, but I was also unimpressed with Kurt Mchenry. And
really,
yeah, and Mchenry's been a guy, and I guess to one extent, I've only watched one other Folkestone match of him, which was his Who's #1, where he didn't look very good, in my opinion. And I know that he's undersized. I get that, right? But now he's back to a more natural weight at 113. Now, every other match I've ever watched him was a freestyle match, so it negated freestyle folk. There's different dynamics, right? And I thought Anthony Ferrari was significantly more aggressive. And better on the mat. McHenry really showed almost no mat skills. And so it's like, for me, if McHenry's going to be undersized at the next level, which he likely is, he's a 113-pounder as a senior, I feel like an undersized guy has to have a high volume. And McHenry attacked with no volume. He scored up. I think he took 2 shots in the whole match. He scored up one of them, which was the end of the first period. And then he scored up a down block go behind when Ferrari didn't have a great shot, which, McHenry's down block go behinds are really good. I don't know. I guess I was just expecting more. It's the #1 guy in the country who's a senior versus a freshman. I was expecting a little more from McHenry. Am I wrong in that? Can I be critical of high school kids? I kind of feel weird saying that.
Well, I don't think we can phrase it another way. This is where he needs to improve. Okay, if you want to make it sound a little bit more palatable, this is where he needs to improve more. If he's going to have the same levels of success in high school that into college, yeah, to your point, with his frame and his size, I don't care. He's got a small frame. It's not that he's just small right now. He has a small frame.
He's going to be small.
Yeah. So, yes. I mean, if you're going to negate that, if you're going to counterbalance that, to your point, you're going to have to offset that deficiencies with your pace, with your attack rate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing is, what you see and what's evident to everybody, man, Kurt Mchenry, he is unbelievably talented, unbelievably athletic. And so he's a guy, he's got the ability, because you see it when he does pull the trigger, it's usually pretty electric, right?
Yeah. The ankle pick he scores on in the first period is like one of the quickest ankle picks I've ever seen in my life.
But then you don't see that much of it. That's the thing. I get.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I think to your point again, he better be really, really dominant in neutral on his feet, because I've watched him for a number of years. I haven't seen a lot of investment in top and bottom on his part.
Yeah.
Now that could change, and maybe he does. Maybe he does have that. He hasn't really been tested, so he doesn't utilize those areas of his wrestling game. I think that's short-sighted if he does have those skills and doesn't rely on them. But if he doesn't, that makes it even more challenging once he gets to the D1 level next year.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, because that's a huge challenge to what you're saying. That's a huge challenge to put in as you get older. And, I always remember one of the things. I'll just tell you a funny story about that. Can I tell stories? Yeah, whatever. It's
sure.
Our podcast. We can do whatever we want, right? So my brother, when my brother and I were in high school, my senior year of high school, this guy came in from New York, and he was actually Jesse Jansen's club coach, right? And Jesse Jansen had that really unique style of crab riding. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And for those of you who don't know who Jesse Jansen is, He was a legend in my era. A few years older than me, 5-time New York State champion, won a national title at Harvard. Just overall superstar. And so this guy comes in, and my high school coach says, "Hey, just go work with Ben and Max," right? And he works with me, and I remember thinking, like, wow, this stuff is freaking fantastic. I see the intricate details. I see why, it works so well for Jesse Jansen at the collegiate level also, right? Not just at the high school level. And so my brother and I both see this, and I remember thinking this even years later, is like, I was, 5 months from leaving from college or so, and I just never got a chance to get good enough at it where I could do it at the college level, right? Because I didn't get to practice it that much. And then I'm trying to do it on college guys, and I can't execute the technique correctly. So that made it really challenging me. Whereas my brother learned as a freshman in high school, and as obviously high school wrestling, especially high school wrestling in Wisconsin, versus college wrestling is a whole different ballgame. And so then Max is able to use this all the way through high school, and he became a freaking, to this day, he's an animal at the series. And I directly attribute that to the fact that he was able to do those techniques against lesser skilled guys, get a great feel for it, whereas I never had that ability because I was like that, and then I went to college, and I just couldn't get a feel for it. So, to what you're saying is that, and I agree with you, is that, if Kurt Mchenry wants to make those changes, it's going to be a lot easier for him to make it now or last year than it will be in a year and a half. And then, listen, they can be still made in a year and a half. It's just going to be a lot more challenging.
Yeah, you've got to be pretty mature to understand, hey, I'm deficient here, so I know it's fun wrestling on my feet. I know that's all well and good. I'm good there, but if I really want to be great at the next level, I better invest even more time than I do on my feet. And like you said, in high school with Max, it's fun. You can kind of play around in those positions, right?
If you're good enough, especially, Wisconsin has significant travel restrictions. So, out of 50 matches, he might be having 3 or 4 tough matches per year.
And the margin of error, if you make a mistake in high school, it's like, oh, shoot, I get reversed, or I get put to my back trying to ride or trying to figure out a new technique. Well, I'm still probably good enough or dominant enough that I'm going to be able to recover from those things. But when there's not a big margin of error between you and your competition, it's like, all right, I can't. How far do I really push the boundary in this position? Because if I give up a reversal, that could be the end game. That could be detrimental to the match. So
Absolutely.
You don't have that same level of freedom, or a lot of guys don't have that same level of freedom to say, hey, I'm going to go play out here. I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to try and get better in competition, because that's really where it matters, right?
Yeah.
That you can pull the trigger on these things and have the confidence, have the freedom, and have the faith in your ability in those high level matches. Like, okay, I'm going to put myself in this situation and believe, regardless of what happens, I'm going to come out on top.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go to 120. I thought this bracket, and then the 132, even the 120. A lot of these brackets are good, but I would say the 120 and the 132 are the best. I'm impressed with both these freshmen, Nick Bouzakis, Ryan Crookham. I've seen their names. I've seen them wrestle a tiny amount, but I got to watch a few of their matches here. Man, these guys are good, really, really good as freshmen. Ryan Crookham really, hammered Trevor Master Giovanni, who he just won Ironman, was it 2 weeks ago? And he was number 1 in the country. Crookham hammered him. 6-0, escape, takedown, back points. Even when Master Giovanni's down 6-0 third period, he still can't do anything to him. Nick Bouzakis looked great. I was most impressed. And I know that Will Guida moved up a weight class because Mchenry went down and they're from the same school, so they flopped. But Bouzakis just put it on Will Guida, who was the number 2 seed. It ended up being a tech fall. So, man, really impressed with these freshmen here in what was a super, super deep weight class.
For sure. And I guess with Master Giovanni, what do you think? I think it's difficult, especially for these young guys, to turn around in a 2-week period or essentially a week and a half and go from Ironman straight into Beast. Because, he wrestled great there. He won the Ironman, and then a week and a half later, he's got to turn around and duplicate that performance. I think the level of maturity from younger guys, I think that's hard to transition from high level match or a high level event to a high level event again.
Yeah. And
I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, I think you nailed it. So, and not to give you not to give my mental money the shameless plug, but I talked about that. My mental money this week was about consistency, and I was talking about not eating too much workout at Christmas, but you can apply it to many things. And obviously, in this case, you talked about the Ironman. It's not like you just had to be good in the finals. You had to be good round of 16, quarterfinals, and Master Giovanni kind of got hammered by a guy. I have no idea who he is. Chris Barnaby, never heard of him before. Never seen him before. I don't know where he came from. And he got hammered 11-4 in the quarterfinals by him. So it's like, to be mentally consistent, to get up for almost every single match is a highly, highly challenging thing. And so obviously, I don't know what was up with Master Giovanni. Maybe his head wasn't right for the match, but loses in the quarters, which then the match I was talking about with him and Crookham, that was in the consolations, and so. Master Giovanni was number 1 ranked in the country going into this weekend. He takes 7th place at the Beast of the East. And that's how tough this tournament is.
Yeah. I mean, that would be something I would be interested to hear on Mental Monday when you talk about younger kids being reliant on emotional intensity.
Ooh, I love
because
it.
I think there's only a limited amount of emotional energy that you can really put forth, because I know a lot of younger kids, they physically have to get into a state, and they're listening to music and pounding their head against the wall, where the high level guys, you just flip a switch. It's like, okay, it's game time. I got to flip this switch. I got to get into this frame of mind, and I got to be ready to go. Younger guys, that's almost like a learned skill, right? Well, where you can kind of turn it on and off. There's a little bit more to that, but I think
the other thing there, Matt. I think the other thing, and this is funny because I just went on that. I went on it wasn't Mental Monday on my Facebook page. I went on a rant about these freaking baby weights that they have at the duels that we should say at. And I got a handful of angry messages from parents, which is funny. But I think where that what did you call it? You called it emotional intensity. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Where that really works out is the younger levels, right? Because especially when kids are really young, a lot of kids don't know how to ramp up their intensity, right? And so if one kid, even if they're equal skill levels, everything's equal. If this kid understands how to be highly aggressive, and this kid doesn't quite get it yet, he's just going to run him over. And that happens. Yes. That happens so frequently. And so I think, even in high school, that can still happen, where one wrestler doesn't understand how to ramp up his emotional intensity, like you're talking about. And, the other kid comes out really hard, and he can't respond. He doesn't know how to respond to that. Doesn't know how to deal with it. And that's, so, that is, I think that matters a lot. But you know what? I think as we get older and as we get better, to what you're saying, it just doesn't work anymore. If someone came out and did that to me, I'd laugh at them, and then they'd be tired in a minute, and then I'd pin them. It's like that just has no effect on me.
Yeah, and I think equally important to all the stuff that you were discussing, not only is emotionally ramping up, but when you're talking about multiple matches, like 3 or 4 high-level matches in a day, the ramping down process is important too.
Yeah, because
right?
If you ramp up, you suck all your energy out.
And then ramping down. Right. Yeah. And then when you get out of the match, some of those guys, they keep riding that emotional high, and you can't sustain that for a 2-hour period.
Yes.
And then you don't have anything in the tank come that next opportunity.
Yes. 1,000%. I agree. I love it. Hey, let's get this. We had one more bracket I really want to hit.
Okay.
And then we'll call it a day. I know you got a lot of important stuff. Now this guy, he started off, I didn't know who the heck, I'd never heard of the man before October. Matt, this guy has ran 3 of the toughest tournaments. You could argue the 3 toughest folk style tournaments in high school wrestling. He's ran the table 3 in a row. And that's Shane Van Ness. So he wins Super 32. He wins Ironman. And now he wins the Beast. And so he beats Mick Burnett, super tough matchup. He beats Bo Bartlett, super tough matchup. He beats Nick Ramo, super tough matchup. It's like, This guy has ran the gauntlet for the last 3 months. And you know what's funny about him is he didn't have a lot of hype coming into the year. Like I said, I didn't even know who he was. I never heard of the guy.
This is his first time in the starting lineup for Blair, right?
Correct. Yeah,
Full
you're
time.
Right. You're right, because he was a backup. But I never even really heard of him at, say, maybe I was missing him at like a Fargo or anything. I never heard of him. Maybe I missed him. It's possible. But I mean, there's nothing really super flashy or dynamic about him. He just goes out there and gets it done. I mean, great basic skills. Just fantastic wrestling all around.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really impressed. I'm with you. I wasn't as familiar with Van Ness before the season started. I'd heard the name, but hadn't really watched him or invested any time. And even when you to what you were saying, he isn't flashy. He's good. He's just good everywhere.
Yes, he's so good, so tough. I mean, just wrestles tough every single position. Very, very impressed with him. It's going to be interesting to see now that, we actually talked about this last week, is the perspective of someone who we're talking about Hayden Hidlay. This will be very interesting to see what the path of Shane Van Ness looks like from here, because now, again, I didn't know who he was in October. Now he's won 3 of the biggest tournaments in a row, so it's going to be like everyone's going to start watching him and scouting him, and what is the response going to be? Is he going to develop and become more dynamic, or are people going to figure him out? What's that going to look like? Because that's exactly what's going to happen to him right now.
So, yeah, I mean, everybody's going to be preparing for him. Everybody's going to be scouting him. He's not flying under the radar, so he's got everybody's attention. But how is he going to focus his attention too, right?
Yeah,
now that he's going to be the number 1 guy in the country, he's living with expectations that he's never had to live with before. I'm sure he's going to be fine, but there is another dynamic to that. Not only are you getting everyone else's attention, but now that attention you're going to be having to deal with yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's me. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting how he deals with that. Man, he's awesome. Okay, I don't have anything else, Matt. Next week we're gonna have too much to talk about because we're gonna have the Midlands, we're gonna have the Scuffle. I don't even know what our schedule will be. You and I are gonna talk about that because we got to get all of it in. So we might add a podcast or something to that effect. But either way, Merry Christmas, and I will talk to you before the New Year, so you don't get a Happy New Year.
Yeah, brother. Get those kids healthy.
All right, see you, buddy.
All right, see ya.